Hey there. If I sound a little out of it, it's because I'm just waking up. But you brought up a couple really good points. One, working symmetrically. There's a couple ways that we can work really efficiently symmetrically. So I'm just going to go over a couple things that I do, and we'll go. So we have this sphere. We're gonna go. We're gonna delete half of it. There we go. So with half of our sphere, let's get a little better background. With half of our sphere selected, we can do a couple cool things. So based on the central edge of the object, we can do a polygonal mirror. So if we hold shift, right click on it while in object mode, we can go down to mirror polygon, and depending on which axis, or not really, yeah, I guess you'd say what axis it is. Um, so right now we can see on my little widget is that the green arrow is pointing away, and that's positive Z. So let's just go mirror positive Z. Boop, bam. And the cool thing about that is that when you do it like that, it auto welds all those points. Something to be wary about though is that let's say that you have some points that are not on that center line, and then all of a sudden you try to do the same. Watch it make me a liar. It always does. No. So then you're going to have issues in your mesh when that doesn't fall along a perfect ridgeline. It's undoubtedly you're going to have these kinds of issues come up. So ways that we can fix those. Mm, okay, there we go. So we can take all of these points and then individually select them, or we can do a edge selection because we know that it's one complete edge. If we hold control, we can say two vertices, and then all of a sudden it modifies our selection to all of the vertices. Once that's done, you can hit your scale tool and scale towards your center. And then we can see that it is making them all uniform. Another way is using this really handy tool up here. So there's absolute, relative, rename, select by name. Uh, this little tab up here has been a lifesaver in many different ways. But as you experiment with different issues within Maya, you'll figure out how to use them and when to use them. So let's see here. I believe it's Z. So if I have all of these vertices, all these components selected, and I go 0 and Z, yep. So as an absolute transform based off of the world measurements, if I have these values right here and I zero them out according to the world, we see that it lines up perfectly. Now this is not going to work quite the same if you have this out in random 3D space and then you have that selection, and now I'm just going to leave it at edge selection. But if I go to 0 now, you see what it does. It's not mesh dependent, it's based off the world. So we went over modifying selections for symmetry. We went into how to mirror polygons for symmetry. Let's go over a couple more cool things. So you have the ability to just work on one side of your mesh for the entire time you're in Maya and then just mirror once you're ready. Or if you want a little more visual feedback, you can select a component, let's say that's supposed to be right in the midline. I think it has to be an edge, maybe. But you select a component, and then underneath your, so W we know is our translate tool. But if we hold W and then hold left mouse, we get all of our tools. If we go into symmetry and we select topology, it will say, or it will look for, based on our initial selection, uh, the rest of your mesh components symmetrical to that one piece. So now when I make a selection, it mirrors that. So that's really handy as well. Let's see here. Let's turn that off. Working symmetrically. Trying to think if there's any other. Oh, so another thing. So let's say that you have somebody's face. Let's make a really bad face real quick. Da, 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 da. Raw. Okay, and then so we have like we're sweet. We got our little head base, and we need a he needs an eyeball. So you could say, well, I'm going to place it there, Control D, duplicate, and just pull it over, and we have our eyes. But it's going to look awkward if it's not absolutely symmetrical, or maybe it will look extra awkward because it's absolutely symmetrical. But a tool that you can use is that grouping function, where it automatically places the pivot right in the center of the level, or world 0. So if I do Control G, I've just grouped this, and the group pivot is now in center. Now if I hit Control D, I have two of them right on top of each other. The pivot's right here. So similar to how we were doing the mirror polygon, if we look at this, this is the z-axis. If we go into the scale, x, y, z, do a -1, all we're doing is essentially flipping that on the other side of the mirror. So then there you go, you have two of your identical eyeballs. It's a little, take it for what it's worth. Look forward to seeing what you guys are doing. Keep up the good work. See ya.